Okay, let's bring in Farah Mourad, who's a senior market analyst at Equiti Group and joins me live on the line from Dubai. Pleasure to have you on. First of all, Japan's weaker GDP growth than expected. I've heard Japan referred to as kind of like the litmus test. If things are bad in Japan, then you know you've got problems. How would you assess the next few months there?
I mean, it's definitely not a good surprise, given also this volatility, the uncertainty we have in the market. The main question now we need to ask, will it change the Bank of Japan's stance, the shift towards more hawkish stance? I believe so far it wouldn't. We might see a rate spike in May. Now, why do we care about that? We need to remember, okay, we have less domestic growth. Consumption also is not doing pretty well. It's not rebounding. But we're talking about an economy that is highly export-oriented. So I need to also check what's the future holding for international demand. And it doesn't look the best. But Japan might be benefiting from it, especially from this trade war that we see between US and some major global economies. Japan might raise as a winner. So the initial response is definitely a bit of pressure. I don't think it will affect the decision of Bank of Japan. So I'm expecting the yen to continue being supported. But there's this dilemma, like a stronger yen, it means more pressure on the export-oriented industries. So overall, there is uncertainty, volatility. I'm expecting it to remain, but it might be a winner Japan's economy, especially when it's related to the export-oriented industry, in case this trade war between US and different economies would support Japan as a better partner for the US, for example.
Farah, if we look at the Asian markets, they're all red, they're down across the board. Are we seeing the signs of an economic global downturn here based on fundamentals, or is this just panic because of Donald Trump's trade war?
I would say definitely both, but the real fear of a major global stagnation wave seems more realistic. We have too many fundamental signs, whether we're talking about the bond market, the series of data that came way less than expected, or at least it's not what we were expecting from, let's say, the US. We always expect better than expected data. So having a bit of this downtrend, there's nothing majorly screaming that we are moving towards an economic collapse, let's say, or a huge recession. But stagnation seems like a reality, especially with Donald Trump, another, I would say, premium that we have now in the market. I think the market needs to take a breath. Major markets reached all-time high, continued on retesting these all-time high. Given the data that we're seeing right now, a recovery or at least a rebound doesn't seem impossible. We need it. We need a bit of I would say, a rebound to the markets.
Xpeng have announced that they're going to be producing mass production of flying cars by 2026. Flying cars, that sounds to me about as likely as, well, a flying car. I mean, is this realistic in as soon as 2026?
I mean, I need to look more into these details. It just came out. The major thing I need to take into consideration, first, how applicable it is to have a flying car. Is there new rules that I need to consider before actually using this car? This is something major that I need to take into consideration. Now, even the financial support to the company, I think it needs time to materialize. So definitely on the long term, pushing boundaries, creating new technology, it would definitely support the company. This spike is just based on the news itself. I need to see more to see if it's sustainable, if it can be integrated into the markets fast enough. And it's just way beyond the capacity to be able to mass produce a flying car. There's too many other things I need to take into consideration. I believe that's why after this initial spike, we continue to see a bit of a rebound of prices on the stock.
Very shrewd, I think, Farah. Talk is cheap. You want to see evidence. I agree with that. Farah Mourad is my guest, Senior Market Analyst at Equiti Group. Thank you.